Oh, that was pretty iffy. I've just got a 3-cell in it for this flight. It's a little breezy. Hard to believe that's on a 3S. Okay, so let's see if we can bring it through here and do a speed run with it and see what my thrust angle looks like now. I'm going to try that again. Pull back on the elevator a bit. Alright, let's see what we have. Into the wind. Oh, that looks pretty darn good, guys. Let's try it downwind. Alright, let's get straight and level. Need a little trim on the ailerons, but that looks pretty good. Yep, I think that's got it. I get a little bit of torque roll there going full throttle. I'll have to test it on 4S just to make sure. But that looks really good for speed runs. Yeah, it's maintaining its line pretty darn well now. So I just put a 1mm spacer under it to lessen that thrust angle a bit. And that looks like it's worked. I hope I got that in frame. It's a little windier out here than I would like. Alright, so let me see what kind of trim I'm going to need on this. At cruising speed. Yeah, it looks like I need a little up trim on it. Wow. Just like I said, it is hard to believe that that is on a 3S LiPo right now. I am so impressed with this power system. Well, you can see it getting jumping up and down a bit from the breeze here. It's not a constant wind. It's kind of gusting. I would say between 5 to 7. Pretty awesome though. Oh man, does that have power? Yeah, I think this one is one that you kind of want to fly in calmer conditions than what I'm flying in right now. Yeah, it's really getting moving around by the wind pretty good. See that? Okay, so let's start walking out here by the road. So, yeah, there we go. Alright, going to be coming into a crosswind. I just wonder if I shouldn't try to land it on this dirt lane into the wind. I think I'll do that. Alright, let's bring it back around. And Let's see if we can land it on this dirt lane. There we go. I had to move out of the way. Okay. So it looks like my thrust angle is pretty good. It seems to really maintain its line, at least on the 3S going at full speed. I wanted to get a little more up angle on it. Alright, so I like that right now with the... I got to clear the dirt and sand out of the motor. And then I'll see if I can put a 4S LiPo in it. See you in a minute.
Okay, well, I did not get it in the air with a 4S LiPo to test it, although I made 3 attempts at it. You know, the last time I was out there, I had much calmer wind, and I'd started launching it. You know, I would give it a good chuck and get it gliding, and then get in the throttle before it loses all of its steam. Because this thing is really squirrely on launch with the power on. And so that's the best way that I have found to launch it. Is you launch it, you give it a good chuck, get it moving through the air, gliding, and then get into the throttle before it loses steam. Because you don't have much control authority on this wing, you know, until it picks up steam, and that's why it's so squirrely on launch. So anyway, I had more wind out there today than I should have been flying it in, but I wanted to give it a shot, and so, you know, the wind had picked up even more after I did the 3S LiPo test. I put a 4S LiPo in it, and I gave it a good chuck, and it seemed like every time the let go of it, a gust would come up and it would upend it. And I noticed it in all 3 times, so I tried to get it in the air, and on the 3rd time, it cracked the nose, and it broke the canopy in half, you know, right here where the scoop is, the weak point. So I'm going to have to glue that back together. And this wing does not like a lot of wind. I absolutely love this wing, but it's kind of a pain to launch. It's awesome, you know, once you get it in the air, but it does not like a lot of wind. It was really getting moved around out there in the air. I don't know if you could see it on camera, but I mean, it was jumping up and down, and I'd go into the turn, and the wings were doing this, and so I would say you don't want to try and fly this more than about 5 mph wind. I mean, you know, the 5 mph was about the least amount of wind that I had out there today. Like I said, it was between 5 and 7, and by the time I put a 4S LiPo in it, it was gusting up over 7. I should have just held off on it. I shouldn't have tried to put it in the air, especially after seeing how much it was getting moved around by the wind with a 3S LiPo in it when I got it in the air. But oh well, it is what it is. I'll get it glued up, and I'll get it back in there. The thrust angle adjustment on the 3S on the speed runs and straight and level flight, as well as I could tell on that wind, it seemed to hold its line really, really well. I don't think it will be any different on a 4S, but you never know until you verify it. So I will try to get back out there with this wing once I get it glued up in calmer wind. I won't try to launch it again in anything over 5 mph wind. There's too much of a risk of it getting upended before I can get in the throttle. So, but anyway, this is, even though it's a pain to get in the air, I mean, it's a very inexpensive wing, tons of power. I think it has, if it doesn't have unlimited vertical on the 3S, it is so close to unlimited vertical on the 3S, and it is an insane amount of power on a 4S, and a 4S is what I like to fly it with. I mean, it just screams through the air. So this is, even though it's hard to launch, this has become my favorite wing just because of the amount of power and the amount of speed that it has. I mean, this, with that amount of power, this will do aerobatics without even breaking a sweat, you know. That's absolutely awesome. I will get it back in the air. We'll validate that on 4S LiPo. I think it's going to turn out fine, but we'll validate it. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the air.